Hello and welcome. The California Department of Education, CDE, has developed the Promoting Equitable Access to Teachers, PEAT program, to assist local educational agencies, LEAs, such as school districts, in identifying and addressing local disparities or equity gaps in how teachers are assigned. This is the fourth video in the PEAT video series and focuses on conducting a root cause analysis. Please be sure to view videos 1, 2, and 3 on the PEAT webpage for additional information. This video will primarily provide instruction for conducting a root cause analysis for providing equitable access to teachers. Before we dive in, let's begin with our purpose: to provide equity for our students. To address the disproportionality in equitable access to great teachers, and to ensure access for low-income students and minority students, we recommend LEAs must take a targeted universalism approach to analyzing data. This means that although all students should have access to effective, well-trained, and experienced teachers, it is students living in poverty and students of color that have historically been taught by ineffective, out-of-field, and inexperienced teachers at much higher rates than students from affluent white backgrounds. By setting universal goals, pursued by targeted processes focused on low-income and minority students, your LEA will ensure goals are met for all students. For additional information, see John A. Powell, Stephen Menendian, and Wendy Aki, 2019, Targeted Universalism, Policy and Practice, at belonging.berkeley.edu/targeted universalism. There are 3 resources that we would like to highlight in this video that are provided on the CDE website for providing equitable access to teachers. The first resource is the Root Cause Analysis Instructions and Tips. This Word document will walk LEAs through the in-depth process of conducting a root cause analysis. It also includes questions to ask as you consider the root causes and tips for your equity team to convene meetings and engage community equity partners. The second tool is the Root Cause Analysis tool, which is a template for LEAs to use when convening their equity leadership team and community equity partners to drill down to their root causes and plans to address inequitable access to teachers. Finally, the last tool is another Word document called Potential Root Causes. This document provides the most common root causes to providing equitable access to teachers and the LEA levers that may be available to you in addressing the corresponding root causes. These resources can be found at www.cde.gov/pd/ee/step3 equitable ACCR-TCS.ASP. Drilling down to the root causes of equity gaps are an essential part of developing your LEA's plan to ensure equitable access to excellent educators. Before conducting a root cause analysis, we recommend that you view the previous 3 videos in this series, particularly video 3, which can be found on the Promoting Equitable Access to Teachers webpage. Additionally, gathering your relevant equity data with the resources discussed in video 3 of this series are provided in the PEAT Equity Data Collection and Analysis Tools, which can be found at cde.ca.gov/pd/ee/step2 equity gap analysis.asp. Another important step in preparing to conduct a root cause analysis and develop an equity plan is to build an equity team and engage with community equity partners. After viewing video 4, we recommend that you also view video 5, which discusses the ways to successfully build your equity leadership team, as well as when and how to engage with community equity partners during the root cause analysis process. A root cause analysis is an important step in the process of addressing a problem like providing equitable access to teachers for all students. For example, a broken wrist hurts a lot, but the painkillers will only take away the pain, not cure the wrist. You'll need a different treatment to help the bones to heal properly. In this example, the problem is a broken wrist, the symptom is pain in the wrist, and the root cause is broken bones. So unless the bones are mended, the pain will not be cured. Using the root cause analysis process ensures that an LEA's selected changes, interventions, or practices are appropriately aligned to identified root causes and supported by evidence, rather than quick fixes that may not have a significant impact on the root cause and therefore not lead to meaningful change over time. Root cause analysis is a process that leads to a narrowing potential cause of a problem to specific areas of focus. There are many different approaches to conducting a root cause analysis, but typically a root cause analysis process includes three overarching steps: identifying a problem, identifying the causes of the problem, and identifying strategies to address the problem. The ultimate outcome of engaging in a root cause analysis process as part of a school improvement plan is to identify, select, and plan for implementation of specific evidence-based practices or interventions that are likely to remove the root cause or mitigate the chances of root causes and subsequent challenges recurring. Using the teacher equity data that you analyzed during your equity data analysis, your team should be ready to reflect on the equitable access challenges in your LEA. Brainstorm a list of such challenges. Then, highlight the one challenge that seems to represent the greatest disparity or seems to be the most immediate and pressing. Specifically, the challenge or challenges in terms of a particular problematic equity outcome. For example, there is a higher teacher turnover in Title I schools as compared to non-Title I schools in our LEA. There are less experienced principals in rural schools in the district than in suburban schools. Across the LEA, lower income students are more likely than higher income students to be assigned a new teacher. Next, brainstorm the root causes of the problems your team has identified. In other words, the reasons why this problematic equity outcome may have occurred. After you've written down one explanation for the problematic equity outcome, ask yourself why. Write down a possible reason, even if you don't know for sure. Keep asking why until you seem to have exhausted the possible causes for the identified problem. The root cause analysis process leads to a narrowing of potential causes of a problem to specific areas of focus. During this process, your team is identifying the reasons why this problematic equity outcome may have occurred. The most important function for this process is for the LEA to use evidence and data to gain a deeper understanding of the possible cause or causes. Focus on system challenges, not symptoms. For example, the tendency of early career teachers to move from inner city to suburban schools after a few years is a symptom, while a lack of strong preparation and leadership in inner city schools is a systems challenge. Also, the high percentage of students with disabilities who leave teaching for work in the private sector is a symptom, while unmanageable caseloads for these teachers is a systems challenge. The last step in the process of conducting a root cause analysis is to identify evidence-based strategies to address the problem. At this point, there may be several problems that need to be addressed, so it is important to narrow the focus by identifying a focus area. For example, if the identified root causes are mainly in the area of retaining teachers in low-income schools, your focus area might be lack of talent development opportunities in schools with the highest numbers of low-income students. When addressing providing equitable access to teachers, make sure to consider these two questions when selecting a focus area. How does it impact student learning and experience? How equitably is it distributed across your LEA? Prioritize schools that are most affected by the inequities of access to qualified teachers. Once you have identified your focus area, it is time to develop an equity plan. Consider the following levers that may be available to fix the educator access equity problem. For example, If it is determined that your root cause is an inadequate supply of teachers, some possible levers to consider would be partnering with educator preparation programs, looking at teacher compensation, considering revising your LEA's hiring timelines, or consider offering certification assistance for non-credentialed staff like teaching assistants and paraeducators. If your identified root cause is related to attracting teachers to high-need schools, you may want to consider the following placement levers, including ways to compensate and incentivize teachers. You can also consider the placement of highly effective principals in schools that have the most needs for supporting teachers. Also, consider prioritizing schools that have the most challenging staffing needs in your LEA's hiring timeline. Another possible root cause may be difficulty growing teacher talent in some of your high-need schools. Your LEA might consider professional development that is focused on the local needs and current development of the teachers, professional development for the principal to provide the learning supports aligned to the needs of the teachers in the school, or providing certification assistance to teachers that wish to further develop their teaching skills. For instance, providing incentives to become national board certified teachers. If your LEA struggles with assigning the highest qualified teachers to the schools with the most need, your LEA may consider teacher assignment levers such as bonus for highly effective teachers working in high-need schools, or incentives for teachers working in high-need schools, including paid leadership, mentorship, and coaching opportunities. Please feel free to contact Pete, the Promoting Equitable Access to Teachers program at the California Department of Education at 916-445-7331 or by email tlpo@cde.ca.gov.